Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. We are finally back after my brief hiatus, if you want to call it that. I call it a little vacation. Granted, it wasn't much of a vacation. The whole time I was thinking, God damn, I missed an upload. And I am very sorry for that. If I sat here and told you the reason why, it probably sounds like excuses. So I'm not gonna waste your time. But if you care, oh, sorry, sir, please come in. Thank you. God bless you. Give me a thank you, maybe? Thank you? He didn't give me a thank, whatever, it doesn't matter. Regardless, we are back. We are back behind the wheel of my beautiful RS5. Sorry for banging my steering wheel a bit too much there. Today, as you can tell by the thumbnail or the title, we are doing 5 things that I love. That's 10. I shouldn't have done 10. 5 things I love about my Audi RS5. So if you couldn't tell by the last 30 seconds, I own this beautiful 2014 Audi RS5, which has been my baby for the last about 3 years. I want to say 2.5, just because why not? Over the 5 years, I have become very, let's just say attuned. Is attuned the right word? I become very familiar with this car, and with the familiarity comes 5 things that I love and 5 things that I don't want to say hate, because hate is a strong word, but hate does bring in the views, so I will say hate. That's not going to be this video, that's going to be one of the next few. I don't know which one, maybe next week, maybe the week after. Regardless, today we are focused on the 5 things that I love. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to begin with on this car that I love, which is gonna suck for you guys because I don't really know how to properly communicate it to you, is the driving feel. Now, if you haven't had the chance to drive an RS5, first of all, what the hell are you doing? Do it. I haven't unfortunately driven any other car, any other sports car besides this, and also, what's going on here? I haven't driven many sports cars. The only real ones that I have driven is this one, as well as a C63 AMG, and it was a W204 AMG. Now, the C63 was kind of a clapped out version of one. If I've never had the chance to drive a nice one, or spiritedly enough, to be honest. It was really just a test drive, and the alignment was off, everything was falling apart. It was not the best C63. My experience driving this, I feel like, has absolutely ruined me. What I imagine other Audis are like is just like this one, where it is planted, it feels like it's on rails. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I hate this point because it's very hard to communicate to you how it feels just by watching a video, but if I could describe it with words, it literally feels like it is on rails. And I don't know if that's because of the all-wheel drive system or just how this car is set up. I believe it has hydraulic steering, so maybe that has something to do with it. The way the steering just feels very instantaneous. But this car is literally like playing a video game. And if you haven't driven one, find one and drive one, and hopefully you agree with me, because I haven't driven any other Audi except this one. And if every Audi is like this, I understand why people get S4s, S5s, RS6s, RS7s. Like, these cars are fantastic. It gives you so much confidence, and it makes you feel like you are a much better driver than you actually are. Now, granted, that's a good thing, but also can be a bad thing, especially if you're a new driver. I know for me, I was very happy with this fact because, like I mentioned, I haven't driven many sports cars ever, like minus test drives. And when I got behind the wheel of this car, I felt like I'm good at driving. Not just good at driving, I feel like I'm not gonna crash this into a tree, which was really my main concern. I never driven anything more than 200 horsepower, let alone 450. So with that all being said, that's point number 1, is the driving feel. Now, point number 2, which I wish I did a bit more preparation because it is all dusty and gross, it is this interior. Now, you may be thinking, what's so special about this interior? Well, this interior was made over 10 years ago. So everything you see here is from 2014. and look how good it looks. It still stands up to today's interior standards, and honestly, it's better in some standards, some conditions, I guess. I love the way this car looks on the inside, and granted, that's where you're gonna be spending most of your time, and I'm lucky enough to have such an amazing spec with all the carbon fiber on the interior, and I don't have this horrid silver trim that other cars do, which if you have it, I'm sorry, not my cup of tea. Granted, piano black interior is so easy to scratch that maybe I'm the idiot and you guys are the real winners. Regardless, I think the interior has held up so beautifully over the years, and honestly, it has just enough technology to get you by. And if you wanted to, you really could go through the hassle of adding Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all those great features. Me personally, I really don't care about that stuff. I don't typically use navigation, and when I do, I usually just have my phone propped up somewhere, so it's good enough for me. But you could do that and make your car even more modern than it is now, which is awesome. Another thing you might not have noticed about this car is how driver focused the interior is. Now, I never knew this until I was a passenger in my own car. A lot of this stuff is facing towards you, and you don't realize it because it looks pretty flat. It looks like it's available to everyone, but when you really sit in the passenger seat, you realize how much of the dash is tilted towards you, almost like a cockpit, which is really, really cool and really, really advanced for 2014. Now, the third thing on my list, which is kind of related to the first thing, is the Audi Quattro all-wheel drive system. Now, if you haven't driven a Quattro all-wheel drive car in the winter, screw test driving an RS5, do that. That is the best all-wheel drive system I have driven ever in the winter. Now, I have talked your ear off about not driving sports cars before, but I have driven all-wheel drive cars before, and this is like no other. The way it just always has traction for you, it is so smart. Like, I'm not very technical, so I can't tell you how this system works and what magic it's doing. But I promise you, if you are ever afraid of winter driving, if you are a very nervous wreck when it comes to snowstorms, buy yourself, maybe this is the best financial advice, but buy yourself an Audi product from like 2010s and up, and you will feel unbeatable. I've had moments where I am literally, like, I cannot make this up, I was literally parked at a red light on a sheet of ice, thinking, okay, this can't be good news for anyone, let alone me. And believe it or not, the only car that was able to get off the line and take off was my car. Granted, you could argue having a good set of winters is super important. And I believe back then I had Michelin X Ice tires, which I don't know if they're the best. Regardless, I've put, like I mentioned on my I'm still messing up the title, my wheel reveal video, I have put Chinese tires, like winter tires, the cheapest of the cheap, on this car, and I've had zero issues. This car still performs fantastic, even though it's like Achilles heel. So if I could be a spokesperson for Audi, please, someone send me the application, I'll fill it out. But this all-wheel drive system is a huge part of the confidence I have being behind the wheel of this car. I never have to worry about taking a corner, the back end kicking out. Don't get me wrong, it's playful, but it's not playful enough to kill you, which is, it's a sweet spot when you're getting into these cars, but the more you get into sports cars, the more you kind of want the car to kill you, which it's a weird, give and take, if you can call it that. But there's that. Now, my second last thing that I absolutely love about this car is the Rarity. Granted, this isn't a numbered car. This isn't one of 500 LaFerraris or like one of 1963 Porsches. It is relatively rare. You do see a lot of A5s and S5s, but you don't really see that many RS5s on the road, which was a huge selling point for me. I wanted to get a sports car, but not one that was easily accessible, easily recognizable, but still fun at the same time. And I find this car is the best car if you want to get it and fly under the radar. I've told my friends before this too that I love this car because if you don't know what it is, you just think If you know a little bit about cars, you think it's a black Audi. If you don't know anything about cars, you're like, oh cool, black car. Like, it is so under the radar that not many people know what it is unless you go to car shows, you're with friends that are in the car community. They might know, but even then, I find people in the car community, they know it's an Audi, but they don't know that this thing has a V8 under the hood. They don't know that this car is 450 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. They don't understand the level of engineering that Audi has put under the hood. And I will sound like a fanboy for this whole video, but that's just because this car is that good. You see huge communities behind the E92 M3s or the C63s, but nobody really understands how special this car is, because between those two cars, the E92 and the C63, they had a third competitor. And at the time, it was priced way higher than them, and it didn't bring as much performance as maybe the market demanded at the time. But right now, they're a pretty great bargain if you're looking for a really cool sports car to have. I think since I have bought this, I have maybe seen less than 5 RS5s in the wild. And if you want to count not coming out of a car show, then like, I don't even think I've seen one. I've only seen them when I'm going to car shows. Out in the wild like this, I don't think I've honestly seen one, specifically of the B8.5 generation, which is this car. I do see a lot of the new ones, but to me, the new ones don't have the same presence that these cars do from back in the day. They look amazing, don't get me wrong. There's just something special about knowing that under my hood is a V8, and not just any V8, a really high revving V8 that sounds fantastic. And speaking of sounds fantastic, that brings us to our last and final point, the engine. I was saving the best for last, if you couldn't tell. The engine is the main reason that I have gone with this car, and 3 years later, after living with this, dailying it, driving it in the winter, driving it around town to work and back, there is nothing about this engine that gets old to me. Every single time I bring this car to the red line, I remember why the hell I worked so hard to get it, why I didn't give up on wanting this car. Because you can watch plenty of videos on Mustangs and other V8 cars. They're great. They have their reasons to buy them, but nothing will ever come this close. Like, if you have watched that Throttle House video that I've mentioned in my first video, the one that made me buy this car, I believe it was James who said this car comes alive on the other side of 5,000 RPMs, which if you know this car, that is so incredibly true. I have never had a car that, well, I've never had a car like this, but I've never heard of a car that rewards you so much for being so high in the rev range. Like, you would think this car is so underpowered if you've driven it from 2,000 to 4,000 RPM, honestly even up to 5,000 RPM. But the second you hit over that 5,000 mark, it is like a rocket ship. It pushes you back in its seat and it's so theatric. It sounds so crazy. Those upshifts are just unexplainable experience. Like, you just have to sit here, hear it, feel it to understand how special this car is. Even those downshifts, they sound so incredibly good. Everything about the engine of this car, it's what makes it. Like, put everything I said aside and just purely buy this car for that engine. There's nothing like it. I mean, there is the E92 M3, which does have a manual if that is something you're looking for. But I'm telling you guys, if you want something that is severely undervalued in the market right now, this is your car. Now let's see if I can show you a demonstration of that 5,000 RPM red line. God, dude, this thing is just, this is a prime example of building an engine and just putting a car around it. It's the Ferrari method of just having such a great engine and and just putting a body around it just because you have to. Like, especially knowing that this is the last naturally aspirated V8 Audi has ever made to put into a production car, it makes sense why it's so special. As you can see with all the emissions and all the laws and regulations, it was clear to Audi at the time that this whole big engine, small car thing was only a matter of time till it was completely wiped away. And I'm so glad that they decided to just take the biggest engine in their smallest car. Well, you could argue the RS3 and the TT was smaller than this car, but the smallest car that they could possibly get, and just absolutely stuff it in there to make this masterpiece, which in my opinion, nothing has ever come close since they've made this car, other than your V10 R8s, which are special in a way that's beyond the tax bracket of this car. But this car is truly a last of its kind. And with that all being said, thank you so much for watching this video, tuning in. If you like this video, please leave a like. If there's anything else you'd like to see from me, leave a comment down below. I make sure that I read and respond to as many, if not every comment that comes my way. Also, let me know while you're down there, is there anything else that you want to see from me? Is there anything that you want me to elaborate a bit more on? I'd be more than happy to do so. Lastly, if you could, please subscribe. That would help me out more than you could ever know. My goal is to hopefully, fingers crossed, I know it's a bit ambitious, to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. It may not be possible, but I'm sure as hell gonna try. And if you could, please help me out with that and click the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me, more than you'll ever know. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you guys in the next one.